Hey guys, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. All right. Here we go. All right. Hello, hello, hello. How's everything, guys? Pray everything is well with you. Oh, good to be back. Let me just lower this down some. There we go. There we go. Excuse the way I look. Just coming from taking a walk. Yeah, I've been trying to not trying. Let me take that back. I have been getting out and exercising more and going to the pool. Well, but getting up at 5 in the morning is tough. And I choose 5 because I want to go when really nobody is there. Because unlike some people, I admit I am not comfortable with being around a whole lot of people with this whole COVID thing. So take it any way that you want to take it. And so when you have arthritis in your knees, this is what you deal with. All right. Well, first and foremost, I pray everyone is well. Thank you. I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, author, educational consultant, and professional counselor. And my mission or goal in life is to try to help as many people as possible who are going through some things. And in these troubling times, I think it's something that's needed. I work mostly with women between the ages of 35 and 70, but I am here to work with men. I work with some children, and this is what I do. And I currently work with the federal government. I work with the educational system here in Delaware, and I work with churches because I create mental health ministries, which I'll explain more about that right now. And we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So welcome, welcome, welcome if you're seeing me from any one of those platforms. Okay, so today what I want to talk about is dealing with disappointment. And how we deal with disappointment speaks to our mental state, believe it or not. And I think too often we don't take time to consider how we react to disappointment. Often we just deal with it and it creates an issue, or we try to deal with it. Let me see, I think my wife will get that. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So, one of the things that I realized, and you know, guys, I'm very transparent. I try to be anyway, is that disappointment is a part of life. You, yeah. Come on. What is this? What is this? Come on. Thank you. Oh, come on. What is this? Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. But yeah, I try to be as transparent as possible. I don't even like that phone. And part of that is one of the ways I deal with disappointment. Let me back up and say it this way is that I accept it even though I don't like it. And I've always been that way because I found that if I do not allow myself to take the disappointment in, it could cause me to move into a state of being that I just don't like. And I figured out years ago, way back in high school, that bad things are going to happen to people. And I kind of fought through allowing that to cause me to get bent out of shape. I literally learned how to control my emotions. Sometimes not to the good, meaning that I would literally remove my emotions and then not reactivate them. So I had a nickname in college called Harry Heartless because I was a heartless dude. And I found that the way that I taught myself to deal with things bled over into my regular personality, where I kind of just was devoid of certain feelings. Let me see in the chat here. Hey, good morning, Jose. Good morning, brother, Pastor McGuire. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In this world, you will have tribulations, but of a good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's where I'm going with this. So I appreciate Brother Jose and Pastor McGuire being here, because this is what's important. All of us have to deal with disappointment. All of us. We don't have a choice. Anytime you connect emotional feelings to anything, the opportunity for disappointment happens. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay. First, let's look at disappointment itself. Okay. This is the definition of disappointment: sadness or displeasure caused by non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. I want you to just take a look at that. Sadness or displeasure. All of us feel sadness at one time or another over something. All of us feel displeasure about something. Now, let's continue with the definition. Caused. So if we all have sadness and displeasure, now we look at what it is caused by. Non-fulfillment of one's hopes and expectations. We all have hopes. We all have expectations, which means all of us have to deal with disappointment. It's baked into the cake, ladies and gentlemen. And as a man of God, I have come to learn, as Pastor McGuire just posted, what the Christian faith does for me. Now, I know everybody watching may not be of the Christian faith, and I understand that. And I'll get to the secular way of thinking as well. For me, what my faith does, it gives me a place to position my thoughts so I don't slip into a position of depression. Because look, the doorway to depression, the doorway to a lot of negative thoughts, start right there with sadness and displeasure. When we get sad and we allow the things that cause us displeasure, if we don't make rational thoughts and understanding of it, it can start to slide into something that can get away from us and put us in a state of depression, in a very negative state. And Pastor McGuire says Jesus was disappointed with people, yet he pressed on towards the goal. Amen. I'll put it up for you guys to take a look at so you can see what Pastor McGuire said. And that's true. So the reason why I say all this is because as a professional counselor, as a Christian counselor, as a man of God, as an educator, I wear a lot of hats, but they're all connected with helping people. And anytime you're connected with helping people, then one of the things, Tiff, lower it down a little bit, baby. Close your door. Thank you, darling. One of the things that comes from helping people is that you have to learn how to deal with disappointment. You have to learn how to deal with disappointment, personal disappointment, and the disappointment of others. Because as a professional counselor, I'm dealing with it on a regular. People don't choose professional counseling because everything is going great. They choose professional counseling or Christian counseling because they need things to make sense. Now, let's look at that definition again, and you'll start to understand why what I do as a professional counselor, what I do as a person who helps people make sense of things. Look at the definition. I think it's right there. Let's see, this way. Yeah, right there. Sadness or displeasure. See, this is where I come in. I have to help brothers and sisters make sense of the sadness, make sense of the displeasure. Have to make it make sense why they weren't fulfilled. Our brothers and sisters in places like northern Nigeria are literally being killed by their own families at 2, yet they don't give up. Amen. Amen. Pastor McGuire says, and I'll put it on the screen for you because I like to have you guys see the chat. Actually, you know what? I believe I can put the chat. Let me see if I can put it up here. No comments, new comments. Okay, so I think the new comments will come up. Let me take this. I think the comments will now come up in the screen. There we go. So you should be able to see the chat along with me so you can see, because I love what Pastor McGuire offers. That's one of the things that Pastor McGuire just posted about is when we look at what other people are dealing with, right? That's another way to help. That's one of the things that I do in helping people get past what they're dealing with is to point out, to use as examples or actually models. Because often when you're trying to get someone to reconsider their mental positioning, you need to model some of the things for them or show them examples so that they realize they're not the only ones in the world. And so I will point out maybe somebody else who's going through something else, but you got to be very careful with that. Now, hear me out on that. As you see from the definition, we all have sadness, we all have displeasure, right? But the thing you have to be careful when showing other models is that a person may say, I'm not them, and then they can repel because they feel you're comparing them to somebody else instead of them seeing it as an example. So you want to be strategic in how you present what you want the person to see, what you want the person to model, or how you model it. What I normally do is I peel the onion backwards. And what I mean by that is first, I ask, how are you feeling right now? And I'll get something that's connected to the sadness or displeasure in whatever form or fashion that they say it. Then I'll ask, how long have they felt this way? And I don't let them hit me with general statements. For a while, it's been a minute. Man, I'm like this every day. So again, this is where you have to kind of narrow things down. So when did you start feeling this particular feeling? When can you point to what year, at what was going on? And the reason why is because if you carve enough, you can get to a point of happiness and then decide what happened with the happiness. Tiff, close your door. Tiff, close your door. Hold on one second, guys. Oh, she's not in her room. I'm thinking she was in her office. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. She at the table because I can hear her and the feedback is driving me crazy. All right. So, like I was saying, Brother JJ, how we doing, sir? So one of the things I do is I want to find a point of reference of when the person was healthy, positive, and things were good. Because if I can go back to that, then we're in a good place. If I can get the person to feel a certain way, now I have a bridge to when things were good, to when things would change. Sometimes it's evident. Sometimes it's very clear. Person will say, the divorce created this. They had a death. They lost their job. They didn't get the job that they wanted. He was in a car. Something negative. Sometimes the situation that created the disappointment is clear. Now we have to work on how we actually can work on changing that mindset. Because hold on one second, because I'm hearing she's killing me with the. She should have went in her office. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on one second, because it's like getting feedback. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I got a little sidetracked. I can't. Okay, free message. Okay, you know what? I just forgot. I got to take care of this. Okay, I got to take care of my phone bill. Forgot to pay a bill. I'm like, look, why is my cell phone not? Yeah, I'll take care of that today. But yeah, so like I was saying is one of the things, do you ever ask the miracle question, if you woke up today and everything looked different, what would it look like to you? I ask questions like that, Pastor. Sometimes I'll ask if I gave you a magic wand, how would you recreate, or what would you add to, or how would it look? What would you do? What would you change? So I ask that form of question because what you want to do is be able to see what it is that'll bring the person happiness. So that's a great question that Passage has put, and you can see it in the chat if you're looking at the screen. Do you ever ask the miracle question, if you woke up today and everything looked different, what would it look like to you? Because what happens is the point of reference is to try to get the person to consider a different state of mind than where they are. And then, like I said, I am working backwards to try to get all the information I can get, because now what you want to do is you want to be able to say, okay, now that I have an idea, let's start to build on that. And let me tell you something. Some people, when they're caught in a disappointed state, will fight you on feeling better. Yes. Some people will embrace the negative so much that as you start to offer contrary to what they're thinking currently, they will literally start to tear you down and tear down what you're offering. It's like trying to hand somebody food and they keep slapping it out of your hand. They literally say, nope, that's not going to work. And they start to give up. In some cases, not all. So what I do in patience, time, effort, and energy, you can actually help people get to where they need to be at by simply saying to yourself, you know what? Let's recreate this. And that goes to the question that Pastor McGuire just posted. Let's start to put this into place. What would make you happy right now? What do you want? That is the question I ask everybody in my counseling sessions. What is it that you want? What is it that you would like? Because I want to get an idea of what they believe happiness looks like. I know what happiness looks like for me. I don't bring that to the table, because how I see happiness does not matter to a person who is hurting. What I do is simply say, what do you want? Okay, now let's together figure out how we can work it. How can we together figure out how we can work this? Because it's super important. And I think that's another thing. And then for me, here's a crazy thing. And again, it's not crazy. As I tell you, I'm a man of God. I feel it's my job, not just because it's my profession. Let me just say this. I believe it's my job to try to figure out ways to help people, because I believe that's what God wants me to do. And this is one of the reasons. This is one of the scriptures that I lean on, right? Galatians 6:2. Very simple. Carry each other's burden. This way you fulfill the laws of Christ. I believe it or not, I live by this. I believe that every person that is upright, healthy, of sound mind, when somebody around them is in trouble, I believe it's on that person or people to help other people. I believe that. It's one of the reasons why I work with churches to help provide the services that people need. Because I think what people realistically need, I think they need support, but I think they need it in mass doses, especially today when social media beats us over the head in such a way. Social media beats us over the head with so much negative information that some people, I can see it in their posts. They go from one negative post to a series of negative posts. And I'm watching the things that people, or how people are responding, and they're not saying, get professional help. They're just giving colloquialisms. It's going to be okay. You're fine. You're a conqueror. You're better than that. God didn't make you to fail. They give all of that, but they're not actually offering any assistance to what's wrong. And so what happens is a person gets on, says what they says, doesn't come away with anything that seems like help. So they don't believe there's any help out there. When in actuality, if people would lead people to someone else, say, hey, young lady, I see, or hey, brother, I see what's wrong. Why don't you reach out to Pastor McGuire? Why don't you reach out to Brother Keith? Because this is what he does. This is what they do. This is what these men of God do. You should try to talk to them. This is why we need to be part of our local church. We need our Christians to help. Without question, brother. Without question, Pastor. And that's super important. And this is why I build mental health ministries. Yes, I build mental health ministries. I reach out to church pastors and say to them, how do you help your parishioners who have mental and emotional issues? You should have a mental health ministry in place with services that people can use, and the church should pay for a portion of it. Now, some pastors hear that and they faint. Pay for it. Yes, pay for it. And it's not to put pastors on in a negative way. It is to explain to pastors that it is our job as Christians. It is the job of the church to help people that are emotional, help people that are having some mental issues, because you can pay for a clinician to be there for the people of your church who need it. So you simply ask your members, how much can you afford towards solid mental health? They tell you, say, okay, we have somebody that you can talk to. They don't even have to know that you're putting up the rest of the money. I will tell you how much I charge for my sessions. When you speak to your parishioners, all you do is ask them, how much can you afford for mental health services? Pastor, all I got is $25 a session. That's all I can spend. Okay. We have a professional you could talk to who could help you. Here's the link. Reach out to Brother Keith. I talk to them, speak to them. They tell me that they were referred by their church. Okay. I have a contract with the church. They don't even have to know how much the church lays out, and they get the help. And I let them know your church is assisting you, because that is how we help with the renewing of the mind. That is how we help people who come to church every week but still have heavy burdens. Now, to the brothers and sisters who are not members of the Christian faith, not believers of anything, whether you're a Muslim, anything else, doesn't make a difference. If you're a Muslim, reach out to me. We can set something up at the mosque. Yeah, just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that therapeutic ways of helping people go out the window. No. And if you are a secular person who don't believe in any faith, don't believe in God at all, reach out. Because the therapeutic techniques that I know, I can have a conversation with you and help you well. I won't bring the faith to the table to help you. We will figure out something else. Case in point, I just got finished reading Will Smith's book, Will. I may say, you know what? That's a very outstanding book. You should read that. It'll help put you in a nice, calm state. Where somebody else, I may say, read the Bible. I am currently reading David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, excuse me. And the brother's had some life. I may tell you to read that just so you can see what he's overcome and how he overcame physical abuse at the hands of his father to go on to become a Navy SEAL. So there's other things that can be used to help pull you out of the sadness of disappointment if you allow. But the biggest thing is you reaching out for help. And I want to go back to the definition of disappointment for a second, because as I said to you, we're all tied. We all face sadness. We all face displeasure. We all have things that we have not been fulfilled from the things that we hope and the things that we expect. We all have faced that. We all have been connected in some way to things that we sit back and go, my God, I wish this was different. Oh man, how did this happen to me? I thought I had that job. I thought she loved me. I thought he loved me. I thought my kids cared about me. Oh my God, my kid is no longer here. Whatever the situation is, we all deal with disappointment. But it's how we deal with the disappointment that speaks to who we really are. And I am here to help you with the how. Yes, I point out the what. And yes, I point out where it can take you. And yes, I point out why it does what it does and why it is what it is. But the biggest asset that I bring to the table is that I show you how to deal with it. The thing that I demand from churches, or wish churches would do more, wish that more people would do more. I'm on social media a lot, and I see a lot of people telling people what to do, where to go, why it goes, why it is what it is. But I don't hear enough people saying, let me show you how. What I do hear is people saying, give me your rent money and then I'll give you a little snippet of how, and I'll bleed you for the rest. But that's a different live for a different day in certain business practices in today's world. But I can say this to everybody around me and anybody watching this, whenever you watch this. We all suffer levels of disappointment, but if they're not dealt with, they could drop you into a state of depression. They could drop you to a point of sadness that is very hard to recover from. You may need professional counseling and not even know it, but all you have to do is ask yourself, if you have a continual state of disappointment, if you have a continuous state of sadness, if you are in a continuous state of displeasure, you need to reach out to talk to somebody to get professional help on how to deal with it. This is what therapy, counseling, coaching does. It is super important. Super important. So, guys, I'm not going to stay on too much longer. I've been on almost 25 minutes. But I do want to say this. You know, you heard me talk about I build mental health ministries, right? And right here, if your church does not have a mental health ministry, if your church is not providing you services and you are tithing, now let me just say this. If you are pouring into your church financially and your church is not pouring back into you, that is a problem. But if you are not tithing, then you need to stop and ask yourself, whoa, maybe I need to support. Yeah, you should. I'm not going to force anybody to tithe. That's not my thing. But by pouring into your church, you can have a higher expectation to get something back. But your church should already be offering it. I believe that. So even if you're not tithing, if your church is not providing a way for you to get the mental health services that you need, reach out to me and I'll reach out to your church. It'll be later on, Jose. I'm after I jump off here, I got a couple other meetings. So it'll probably be later on today. Sometime this evening later on when I get a free moment, I'll hit you up, Jose. No problem. I got you. Because when I jump off here, I'm actually got a couple other things I got to do, but I got you. I'll definitely reach out, brother. But that's super important, guys. Now, I can say over the next coming weeks, you may see less of me. And I've had to make some decisions on directions that I want to go in. I've had my own disappointments. This past week has to be the biggest week of disappointment I've had in some time. Now, I'm not going to say it's been the biggest disappointment. Not at all. I've had some major disappointments. But this week I had a couple of hits on the chin that I got to be like, whoo. So I'm going to have to step back and reevaluate some of the things that I'm working on, some of the people I'm connected to, and reevaluate the direction that I want to go in because I have to practice what I preach. And part of how I deal with my own disappointment, how I deal with my own displeasures is self-reflection. I'll let you in. Let me be very transparent as always. I don't have nothing to hide. I don't allow myself to stay sad for any long length of time. I do not allow myself to stay disappointed for any long length of time because that can play tricks with my head. So when disappointment happens, when things that happen that make me sad, what I do is I get into a deep self-reflection and I look at what role I play in the actual thing that I'm disappointed, whatever happened. I look at my role. And if I don't have a role in it, meaning there was nothing that I could have done differently, then I let it go. Because at that point, it's not about me. I just didn't get what I wanted. But if I do a self-reflection and I realize that I played a role in my own disappointment, I played a role in my own sadness, then I check myself by saying, let's talk about it. Yes, and I have full conversation with myself. I talk about it. And then once I have an idea of what it is that I did wrong, I then pray about it. For me, now again, I'm telling you, this is what I do. I don't go to God right away. Now, I speak to God on a regular, but I don't go to him in prayer until I have an idea of what it is that I'm praying for. That's just me. And again, how you do it is how you do it. I'm not telling anybody what they should do. I'm only expressing to you what I do. So once I've had the self-reflection, once I've realized what role I played in my own disappointment, here's what I ask for. Lord, grant me clarity. I'm big on that. Grant me clarity because I ask the Lord to be able to clear my thoughts, my vision, so I can see better and think better and process better. I ask the Lord for forgiveness if it's needed, meaning that I didn't do something that I was supposed to do that wasn't godly. I ask the Lord to forgive me. That's in there too. And then I ask the Lord for patience, temperance. I ask the Lord to be able to steady me and calm me down, keep me calm. Because here's my personal belief, and I'm letting you in on something right now. I believe that if I am patient enough with the right amount of clarity, I can figure out anything. Grant me enough clarity to see and think about what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And if I'm patient enough, I can figure it out. And sometimes what I figure out is this is not for me. This person shouldn't be around me. I should not be here. Discernment is judgment. So when we ask God to grant us discernment, we're saying, God, grant me the ability to judge if this situation or person or whatever is for me. So that's what I do. Because I refuse to allow myself to sink into a depressive state where I am of no use to anyone. I refuse to remain sad about anything that I can't control. I refuse to allow negative feelings to stay in place when I can make other moves. And I never get upset about something that I lost that I never took ownership of. I don't get upset about jobs that I didn't start. I don't get upset about opportunities that I didn't actually get to be involved in. If it didn't go that way, then to me, God had other plans. That's just my belief. So to anybody watching, if you need professional help, if you want to talk to me, right? Here we go. Listen to me. If you need to speak to me, set up a free call. It's private. There's my link right there. My Linktree link, Keith_KL_Belvin. Set up a free call with me. Let's talk. I'm here to help. We'll figure out a way. If you want to start professional counseling, if you don't have money, we'll figure something out. I'm a professional. This is what I do. If you want to reach out and you want to have a call with me because you want to talk about ways that you could reach out to your pastor, you're not sure, I'm here. If you want to talk to me and say you're not sure if professional counseling is even what you need, okay, all my information is right there. Because this is what I do. And to be in a positive mental health position, we have to first acknowledge the things that are causing us to feel uncomfortable. A positive state of mind comes when you can balance out the things that are going on in your life and make them acceptable and be able to deal with them. It doesn't mean you're always going to be able to get rid of them. Things are going to happen. It happens. But it's how you deal with it. And I'm here to help you with that. So I don't know who needs this today, but right now I want you to like this. I want you to share this. And here's what I want you to do. Tell somebody. Share it with people. Yes. I want you to physically tell somebody, yo, you need to check this brother out. Call him if you have to. Text him if you have to. Hey, jump on your own page and do a live and say, hey, I just heard a big brother over on the other page and you check him out. I'm here for it. This is what I do. Because I guarantee you have some people in your circles that shouldn't be there. I guarantee you're facing certain things that are going to fall apart. How you deal with it says something about you. Says something about your emotional, your mental state. And for us Christians, it'll say something about your faith. Because God never said bad things weren't going to happen. He never said that. Actually, he said the opposite. He said the minute that you decide to go this route, you're inviting all the negativity to come. Now, if you're not used to hearing that, or you were never told that in church, we might have to have a talk. But it said that when you choose this pathway, you will be persecuted. Now, I don't know anybody who wants to be persecuted. I don't know anyone. So please understand that disappointment comes, sadness comes, it's part of it. And before I go, I want to look at that definition one last time before I jump off. Disappointment is the sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Please understand that connects all of us. And I pray that some of you figure this out and know that you can come to me and get some help. So again, here's my information if you need to find me. I'm here. I don't hide from anybody. This is what I do every day. I actually got a counseling session right after this other call. I got another counseling session at 11:30, and I have some other counseling sessions, and I got some things I'm thinking about. I just have to figure out how much time I'm going to spend away from social media, because social media can be poisonous. If you're in the improper mental state, it can be poisonous. if you're in a place emotionally where you're fighting and dealing with something, you literally could be opening up the door to so much negativity that it feels like you never get out from under it. Well, a lot of that is because of who you're connected to on social media, but that's another live for another day. So again, guys, before I go, remember this, and this is why I feel this way. It is my hashtag. I believe that when two or more people get together, anything is possible because the God I serve tells me that. But I personally believe that when two people get together, we can fix it. We can fix whatever's wrong. So I believe we can fix this. So when you reach out to me, if I don't have the answers, I can find somebody who has the answers for you, and we go from there. All right. I want you to take care of yourself. God bless.